This is Townscaper, an architectural building game where you build these cool floating little towns in the middle of the ocean. Today I'm going to be trying to build 4 epic monuments from countries around the world, and I've chosen these kind of at random, but also chosen ones that I think might be a bit of a challenge. So I'm just going to start by building off this little island here, and we're going to have a platform to start off with, and we're going to build the other 4 off of this main island. Now I'm playing this on Xbox and playing with a controller, so I'm just getting used to these controls slightly. It's actually not too hard at all, it's a pretty smooth game, but yeah, not too bad on controller at all. Now I have played with this game a little bit before and played around to see what kind of structures I can build, and you can get some nice results. I have also experimented with getting some different things like gardens you can get in this game if you have certain arrangements of buildings, industrial style scaffolding, and various things like that. And as you can see on the left hand side, you get a range of choices of different building colours, and the game doesn't give you a choice in different types of buildings. It's very kind of simplistic and minimalist, but whereabouts you place the buildings affects what the buildings look like, and you can get some cool stuff like lighthouses and kind of tower spires and things like that. Now I thought I'd start off being a bit clever, probably too clever for my own good, and I'm trying to build the Union Jack flag out of houses. I've tried to get the kind of blue in there, and being a resident of the United Kingdom, if you hadn't been able to guess already from my accent, I was trying to remember how the flag actually looks, and yeah, the end result doesn't look great in Townscaper. One thing I find really tricky with this game is the grid is not perfectly square or round. It's like a mishmash of different shapes, which does actually lead to towns looking a bit more organic when you actually build them, but very, very difficult for building straight kind of designs like this. Yeah, and as you can see, the colours don't really come through that well. So there's our finished flag. Actually looks a bit more kind of like the French national flag. It doesn't really remind me of the UK flag at all. But there we go. I gave it my best shot anyway. So the goal here is I'm going to try and build the Houses of Parliament, also known as Westminster Palace, and I'm going to build Big Ben next to it. And for this one, you can see the reference image here. This was my first kind of attempt, and I didn't really take it too seriously. So the accuracy actually to the real life building is not fantastic. But for the next ones, I actually decided to take a bit more effort, and yeah, hopefully the next ones will look a bit better. But hey, for this one I built a really cool flag underneath it, so you can't blame me too much for going low effort with the building. So this is the actual Houses of Parliament building, and I'm just trying to fill out the back a little bit. As you can see, as you place more buildings down, they kind of interconnect and join. You've got to kind of figure out where things look good. I'm a big city builder fan, a big strategy games fan anyway, but I've really got into these kind of chilled out, stylish kind of builders, you might call them. They're a bit more kind of like, you don't control over where you put things, but you kind of play around, place stuff down, and kind of the game fills in how it should look. As you can see there, I've actually got myself a lighthouse on top of there. I thought it was kind of the closest match to Big Ben clock tower, but yeah, there's no clock on there. We can't get clocks in this game.
You're wrong, and you're a grotesquely ugly freak.
I don't think that's too bad. Now I'm going to give myself a rating out of 10 for each of these builds. This build, I think, probably deserves a 5 out of 10. I'm going middle of the road. Okay, a few extra bonus points for the flag that I built, but it doesn't really look like the Union Jack. But Big Ben looks pretty good. Would be nice if I could have got a clock in there, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Okay, on to the next build. Now for the next build, I decided to choose our closest kind of neighbour, if you ignore the other countries in the UK and Ireland. So I am going with France, our friends across the channel. So next we're going to build the Eiffel Tower, and I'm just building a nice base plate for this. And what we're going to do here is surround this with houses so that we can actually get a grass kind of field area. I only discovered actually the other day that you could actually do this in this game, but yeah, you can get grass. So before I was just building kind of like totally on the water. But yeah, if you surround an area completely with houses and leave a ring in the middle, with ground, then you can get grass. And as you'll see here, if you create a full archway of buildings over the top, it will still be grassy, but you can also get like an entrance to it. So as we all know, the Eiffel Tower is surrounded by grass. There's not a wall of houses around it, but I'm taking some artistic liberties here. And there is a certain arrangement where you can actually get some pathways to run through this, and I was kind of trying to get to that but couldn't quite figure out how to do it. And so building the actual tower in white, trying to get as close to the kind of steel look as possible, I just decided to build up the space and try and get some of the scaffolding type style in, so like the kind of iron girders, to try and make it look as kind of industrial as possible. So that's our first layer done, and the second layer going in here, and I'm just kind of trying to get as many girders to show up. Looks pretty nice with the little archways and stuff. And then for the next layer, building a flat platform on top and bringing everything in by kind of one block essentially, to try and get that kind of triangular effect as it goes up to the peak. In all honesty, I probably could have done this a bit better, but you know, just playing around with the game. You can actually see here, you can get some like washing lines and stuff to show up between buildings if you build in certain ways. So that was quite a cool discovery I made the other day. Okay, I don't think that looks too bad. Looks pretty good in my opinion. And just building up the spire on the very top of the tower, trying to get that into a nice kind of peak. And there's the very top of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, so there we go. Fairly pleased with that. And yeah, I'm not showing the Eiffel Tower picture on screen again because I don't want you to compare to that and say that mine's rubbish. Right, moving on to the next country, and for this country I've chosen Egypt. So we're going to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. To do this, we have to build a flat platform and then kind of build everything in one layer from that. And again, kind of trying to work with the game systems here, but as I said before, nothing really builds in a straight line in this game. Yeah, you really have to try and get everything just so. So I'm just trying to kind of figure out the shape here. I think I might need to expand this slightly and make it a little bit wider to get that square shape. And you'll notice I'm building in yellow to try and get the kind of sandy pyramid design. And yet we've expanded that one out and we can build some additional houses there. I really struggle with the zooming and panning actually, so you have to kind of press Y to focus on a certain thing that you want to get closer to, but then as you're zooming and panning out, it actually takes you further away from that thing and it's harder to get back close to it again. The game kind of has these artificial like walls around the level until you build there, and then it expands out. So if you want to combat those artificial walls, you have to press Y to focus in, and it kind of ignores the walls. Very kind of strange. I'm not sure how they've done it, but yeah, I did struggle with it just a slight bit. So there's the pyramid. Yeah. I'm not very proud of that one, I have to say. I think I could have done a better job on that. Yeah, that's the best you're going to get from me, I'm afraid. All right. For my final country, I wanted to be quite ambitious. Think of a monument that's just really, really well famous and also a bit different to the ones I've built so far. So, I'm not actually going to tell you what this one is. I'm going to leave this one as a surprise. So you have to watch the end of this build to actually see what country this one is. See if you can guess. If you can guess, put your answer in the comments below and we'll see how many of you were correct. No cheating. You can't skip to the end of the video and put a comment in then. Put it in right now, and we'll see if you're right afterwards. So I'm building two kind of long corridors of grass, and then a single corridor down the middle of water, and then there's going to be something else at the end of this. And again, using that technique to get the grass platforms inside. A bit more difficult here because of the strange shape of the area that I'm building in, so the grid is a little bit unusual. So a little bit of reworking required, but yeah, we'll get there eventually. And then creating this flat platform just at the end of that avenue of water, and creating this rectangular shape with a nice white coloured block. And I'd be curious to see how many of you got this correct at this point. You may start to recognise it quite soon, I hope. And if you don't recognise it, then that means I've done a terrible job and you can all laugh at me. But I mean, if you're watching this thinking, yeah, that looks really easy to do, I could do a better job than that, I would challenge you to play this game and see if you can. Try and play it on controller like I did, on Xbox or something, because yeah, it's surprisingly hard to control. And I've watched many videos and tips and stuff of people showing you how to get stuff like the grass circles and archways and stuff like that. There's a surprising amount of variation in builds that you can get. And just the way in which you put buildings together and near each other, and also build on different parts of the grid, can really change how your build looks. So just putting in these nice archways, and any ideas at this point what this could be? I'll give you a clue if you still haven't guessed yet. So this country is not in Europe or North America. This country's actually in Asia. And this is probably one of the most famous monuments in any country around the world, I would say. Not been there myself, but I would love to go one day. And I hope I'm doing it justice. I'm trying my best anyway. Okay, so we're going to fill in behind those archways, and it creates like that nice depth from the front. I'm not sure what this building actually looks like behind, but it's the front seam we want. That's the main thing. So I'm just going to fill it in flat and kind of just get a big chunky boy going on. Okay, and here we are from the front. So the main building of it's almost complete. You may not guess it from this because just the architectural style in this game is very kind of European. You always end up with these houses. So all I'd say is imagine the houses aren't there and it's just like a flat building. I've tried to recreate some of the shape of that roof. Okay, when I start to put in the next feature, you probably will get it. And if you don't, I will tell you afterwards what this is. So for this next part, we need some additional kind of islands. So just going to roughly measure this out. So here's the first thing that we're going to start building. Okay. And then the same on the other side. Just eyeballing the height there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we need two more. Slightly more forwards and slightly further out, I believe. At least that's what it looks like from reference pictures. Okay, you must know what it is now. Come on. I'm going to be putting the photo of it up on screen in just a sec. Last chances to guess. Final answers, please, in the comments. Okay, I think we're done. So here comes the picture in 3, 2, 1. Did you guess it correctly? Does my build look anything like that, is the other question. I think it's not too bad, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a bit rough around the edges, but yeah, I think not too bad. If you can do a better build than that, then I'd love to see it. But for a Taj Mahal in Townscaper, I think that's pretty good. Got the grass in there, got the water. The walkway to get to it is a little bit dodgy, but hey, it's functional, so not going to complain too much. Right, so here's a nice overview of all of our builds. So first of all, we were in the UK and we had the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben. Big Ben is actually the name of the bell. It's the Elizabeth Clock Tower, so a little fact for you there. And then we had France and the Eiffel Tower, which is in Paris. And then we had the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. And then finally we had the Taj Mahal in India. An interesting fact, I've actually bought this game 3 times. I bought it on mobile, actually, first of all. It's the first time I ever played it was on mobile. And then I bought it on PC. And then I bought it on Xbox just recently. I think out of all the experiences, actually, mobile was probably the easiest. I played it very briefly on PC. So thank you all for watching and hope you enjoyed that one. If you want me to do a similar thing again, but for some different countries, do let me know and I'll see if I can get another one out. Thanks all for watching and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.